So I remember being in the ICU, and I remember waking up. I remember still not having any movement in my body. I now had left side numbness all the way to my left foot. I remember being slowly talked through it of what had just taken place, because it was now the next day for me, but everyone else obviously was dealing with Sunday night into Monday morning. So it was Monday morning for me, but it was Sunday night for everyone else. And the stuff they told my parents and my boyfriend, and the way I woke up, it's only by the grace of God that I'm here, because they told me I had a 1% chance at surviving what I had. I had a deep sinus thrombosis clot, completely separate from the surgery. It was, right in the front. Surgery's over here, and I had a deep sinus thrombosis clot that dislodged, caused a stroke, caused a seizure, and the clot wasn't breaking. So when my parents got to the hospital, they did say to them, we got to break this clot, and if we don't, she's not going to make it, and we're going to break it with heparin first, and if that doesn't work, they did discuss the whole groin surgery. And I'm hearing all this secondhand, even a month or two later, because it took a long time to process everything. But they said one person can stay in the ICU. It's like 10 o'clock at night now for them dealing with this. Like, what the heck is going on? Because remember, if you go back to the beginning of this story, it was a 9-year-long birthmark into, what do you mean my daughter has a 1% chance of surviving this? Like, how does us as a family go from 9 years of you're completely fine and you're a professional pilot to you might not wake up in the morning? And so they told my parents one can stay. So my boyfriend stayed the night. And they were sent home, and they were told, if we call you tonight, it's to let you know that we're taking her for emergency surgery. And if we call you and we're taking her, she's not going to make it. And that's what my parents were left with. And I obviously didn't know any of this. I was asleep. And they were told things like, she's not going to wake up the same. She's not going to talk. She might have, an impediment, or she might have bodily, issues. She might not be able to use her arms and legs the right way, feeding issues. Like, she could have a series of different side effects from having a stroke. So they went home. They were called in the middle of the night, and obviously that would have made any parent's heart drop, but it made their hearts drop because of what they were told. But they were told, you need to just come back. She's awake and she needs you. So they rushed over to the hospital very early in the morning. It was 4 a.m., probably 5 a.m. And I'm laying in this bed in the ICU, staring at everybody. Can't move. But I just look, and I'm all peaceful, and I say, hi, Mommy. Just like that. Like, the courageous, happy girl was still inside of me. Hi, Mommy. And all of them are obviously in tears, because they were just told she might not talk, she might not walk. And I'm sitting there talking and joking and asking what happened, and then obviously screaming and crying, because why do I have 10 IVs in my arms, and what happened, and wait, my career's over because I can't have a stroke. Like, I went through the motions. And the ICU was a big deal, because I'd obviously never been in the ICU. I didn't even know what the ICU was for me as a person. And I spent a few days in there, and I had an incredible nurse. She changed my whole life in there. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten through the ICU without her. And we can talk more about that as well. But I'm still in contact with her and my doctor. Obviously, I see him every month. But these are people I want in the rest of my life. But I, stayed in the ICU. I slowly started moving. I was given a lot of medications to get things going, and I was moved to the neuro ward. I survived the neuro ward, and a lot of it was walking around. I was in a lot of nerve pain. The stroke was very painful, so my body was in a lot of nerve pain for a long time, and I spent a while at the hospital, about 2.5 weeks from then, and I think, at that time, it was discussed, my pathology, with everyone, and maybe with me, but I don't remember it until I met my oncologist. Because again, I was still on the spectrum of, I'm just here for a second opinion and I'm going to go home and go back to my career. So when I finally did go home and was resting, my mom said, we have an appointment on June 6th. And my birthday's June 7th. So on June 6th, she said, we have an appointment and it's with your oncologist. I didn't even know what an oncologist was. So I said, okay, let's go back to the hospital. And I met my oncologist, and again, adore, love, they've saved my life. But they're very blunt people. And I just remember sitting in his office on June 6th being asked, are you interested in banking your eggs? And I just remember looking at him, like coming out of surgery, incredible pain, stroke, seizure. What is happening to, what do you mean bank my eggs? And he kind of walked me through it. He said, you have what we call a grade 3 astrocytoma. It is aggressive. It is brain cancer. And we would like to start treatment. And same as like April 29th, and April 30th, I didn't really have any questions. I just kind of sat there and blank stared at him like, okay, let's start treatment. The questions came later, and now I'm really annoying in appointments because I have 1,000 questions because I'm so interested in it now. But it was a lot of just like, okay, I'll see you for treatment. So he kind of walked me through it, that this kind of tumor does come back, and this kind of tumor is something we haven't quite figured out how to not come back. There was a trial for the drug I'm currently on that got released in August from the FDA, and I went home, processed it all, met with quite a few specialists over the summer just to get a couple different opinions. I had a lot of people caring about me that did know about it and wanted a couple different people to reassure the diagnosis. We sent pathology to the University of San Francisco. We sent it out to City of Hope. We sent it to UCLA. And the reason we sent it out is because at first glance, my tumor looked like a grade 2. And the grade 2 treatment plan was so different than the grade 3 treatment plan. And when they said, well, we can't dismiss that there are grade 3 cells in it, and we have to label it as a grade 3, and all the specialists agreed. And I said, here's your treatment plan. So my treatment plan was surgery to remove, chemo, orally, 6 weeks of radiation treatment, and then, the idea of the experimental drug after that's now approved. So I did that. I banked my eggs. I froze them. That was an experience. I did 9 months of chemo. I did 6 weeks of targeted radiation. I lost 80% of my hair. This is all curly chemo hair that's come back. And I worked the entire time to try and distract and have a purpose. And here we are. It's 2 years later. Still on a version of chemo every morning, which is an IDH targeted chemo. And I'd love to talk more about that one and the trial and all of that. But now I have scans every 3 months, and my next one's coming up on August 18th, and I'll film it so you can see kind of a day in the life of what a scan looks like. And there's more parts to this story and bigger details and all that, but that's, the last 9 years in a couple different videos. So I so appreciate you all listening. And we'll pick up from here.